Good evening, London. Allow me first to apologize for
That's the emergency channel.
I do, like many of you, appreciate the comforts of the everyday routine, the security of the familiar, the tranquility of repetition.
Bloody hell.
I enjoy them as much as any bloke. I thought we could mark this November the 5th, a day that is sadly no longer remembered, by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat. There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak.
Let me think, just let me
I
think.
suspect even now, orders are being shouted into telephones, and men with guns will soon be on their way.
It's Chancellor Sutler.
Damn it!
Why? Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there?
You designed it, sir. You wanted it foolproof. You told me every television in London.
Cruelty and injustice, intolerance and oppression. And where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak as you saw fit, you now have censors and systems of surveillance coercing your conformity and
Cameras.
soliciting your submission.
We need cameras.
How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror. I know why you did it. I know you were afraid. Who wouldn't be? War, terror, disease. There were a myriad of problems which conspired to corrupt your reason and rob you of your common sense. Fear got the best of you, and in your panic you turned to the now High Chancellor Adam Sutler. He promised you order, he promised you peace, and all he demanded in return was your silent, obedient consent.
Inspector, you're almost through.
Last night, I sought to end that silence. Last night, I destroyed the Old Bailey to remind this country of what it has forgotten. More than 400 years ago, a great citizen wished to embed the 5th of November forever in our memory. His hope was to remind the world that fairness, justice, and freedom are more than words. They are perspectives. So if you've seen nothing, if the crimes of this government remain unknown to you, then I would suggest that you allow the 5th of November to pass unmarked. But if you see what I see, if you feel as I feel, and if you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to stand beside me 1 year from tonight, outside the gates of Parliament. And together we shall give them a 5th of November that shall never, ever be forgotten.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I thought that tonight we could have a little bit of a chat. A chat about freedom. Freedom of ideas, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Without freedom of speech, there can be no real freedom of any sort, because freedom of speech is ultimately freedom of thoughts and freedom of imagination, and is expressed into the world with the mysterious and sublime power of words, symbols that we use to speak reality into existence as agents of the universe, empowered by our Creator, whatever or whomever you may personally believe that entity to be. All tyrannical regimes in history, all authoritarian control and slavery that has ever existed within society, every injustice supported by those who falsely claim sovereignty over our bodies, minds, and souls, has been overthrown without fail because some person has declared that it was unjust. It is an inescapable foundational first principle. History shows us again and again that once this inalienable right to free speech is taken from the people, inevitably oppression, subjugation, and death follow in its footsteps. We, the members of the White Rose, understand the importance of never relinquishing this fundamental, natural, inalienable right. The word inalienable literally means not transferable to another or not capable of being taken away or denied. Inviolable, absolute, unassailable, inherent. The educated men who created the American Bill of Rights knew exactly what they were saying when they used this word. You will note that in their far-sighted wisdom, they not only gave these rights to all Americans, but to all of the people of the earth. It does not matter what the reason given by the local government is. This right simply cannot be taken away. Once the people of Earth fully understand what this means and what it has always meant, we will comprehend that any and all governments on the face of this earth that says it is their right to do so are filled with shameless tyrants and do not serve the will of the people. Beware of those governments who claim to be your God, and understand that they have declared themselves to be above you, your Creator, and all other things that are holy. The American Declaration of Independence, an inherently voluntarist government document, if ever there was one, states that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. So, in conclusion, let me state this timeless truth so that there is no ambiguity. Any government that tries to shut down your freedom of speech is waging war upon you. You are not lawfully obliged to obey any such dictates that infringe upon your natural rights that are granted to you and all other people by your Creator, no matter what those in government might say, and any who insist otherwise are not operating by the consent of the people and are thereby illegitimate and ought to be treated accordingly. We retain the right to freedom of speech, no matter what those who falsely claim authority over our lives might say. It has been ordained by the universe, a higher authority than any government. Stand up, speak loud, use this powerful and sublime tool of freedom of speech. The White Rose supports you, and we offer you the tools to do this easily and inexpensively. Stand up for the virtues of truth, love, and freedom. Do not sacrifice lightly the freedoms that were granted by your ancestors. They paid for these with their blood, their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. Resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. All that we need to do is simply say no to the eradication of free speech. United, peaceful non-compliance can and will set the people free and win the day. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your service to the White Rose and to the universal principle of free speech. We salute you.